Hello and welcome to some trigonometry core 2 exercises. Hello, so I have some questions here that we are going to do. First, I'm just gonna start with writing a quick formula. So cosine squared x plus sine squared x is equal to 1. You should memorize this because I don't know if you have it in the exam, but you probably won't because you need to memorize it. So we need to change this into something that is sine squared, as you can see, because everything here is in terms of sine, not cosine. So we can rearrange this equation and make it cosine squared x is equal to 1 minus sine squared x. Okay, so we can write this 5 1 minus sine squared x equal to 3 1 plus sine x. Okay, and then if we expand it out, so we will have 5 minus 5 sine squared x is equal to 3 plus 3 sine x. Okay, and if we rearrange it, we will get it into this form. Alright, so we can write 5 sine squared x plus 3 sine x is equal to minus 2 is equal to 0, and that you can see is the same as this here. Alright. So now we want to solve the equation. Okay, and I'm going to say that x is equal to sine x to make things easier, right? So I'm going to say 5x squared plus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. And then you can see it's actually a quadratic equation, not some hard equation. Okay, so this is how we can solve it. Alright, then we can say that negative 3 plus or minus 3 squared minus 4 times 5 multiplied by negative 2 over 2 times 5. Okay, so that is negative 3 plus or minus 7 over 10. Okay, so that is negative 0.4. Okay, or negative 1. Okay, so that means that our sine x is equal to negative 0.4 or negative 1. Okay, and that means that we can now solve our equation. Let's start with sine x negative 1. Sine x equal to negative 1. Let's start with that one first. So x is equal to sine negative, the inverse sine negative 1 is equal to so that will be, if we draw a sine graph here, okay, that is 0, that's 360, okay, that's 180, that part here. So we want the part where is equal to negative 1, which is this part here. Okay, so that is equal to 270. Alright, 270 degrees. Okay, and the part where it's negative 0.4, so it's around this part and this part. Okay, but I will use a calculator for that. Okay, so that is equal to it will give us negative 23.6 degrees. Okay, but this is correct. Okay, but the calculator gives you the smallest possible number. But here, if you realize, it will tell you that it's only I want values of x between 0 and 360. Clearly, this is not between 0 and 360. Okay, so if I just draw an extra graph here, okay, so negative 23 will be somewhere here. Okay, so if I add this part here, okay, to this part here and subtract it from this part here, I should get my numbers. Okay, so I will get 360 minus 230.6, 23.6. That should give me 336.4. And if I do 180 plus 23.6, that should give me 203.6 degrees. Okay, and here if you do it on the calculator, it will give you negative 90 degrees, but it's the same concept as we did here. Okay, here and this one. Okay, but also if you realize, negative 90 is down there. Okay, it's here. All right, and because sine graph is kind of symmetrical, so negative 90, the symmetry of it will be here, this part, like the equivalent of it will be. All right. Now the next question, for all solutions 0 between 0 and 2 pi, so that is between 0 and 360 degrees again. Okay, but here they want everything in terms of pi, so in radians, not in degrees. Okay, so we'll do the same thing, because here it's in cosine squared x, so we have our equation again. So we want everything in terms of sine, so cosine squared x is equal to 1 minus sine squared x. Okay, so 1 minus sine squared x is equal to plus 1 is equal to 5 sine x. Okay, so I will do quick expanding. If I really arrange the equation, it will be 2 sine squared x plus 5 sine x minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, and now if I solve the quadratic quickly, I should have sine x, sorry, sine x, sorry, we will say that x is equal to sine x. Okay, so x is equal to a half, or x is equal to negative 3. Right, and now if we solve the equation, we'll just draw our sine graph again. Okay, just for reference, so we'll just do now sine inverse sine of a half and inverse sine of negative 3. Okay, if you realize, okay, we leave that part for now. I will talk to you about it later. So shift sine a half, that will give me 30 degrees. 30 degrees is here, around here. Okay, so we have another solution there as well, that is equal to a half. So it will be 180, because that part is 180 minus 30, it should give us 150 degrees. Okay, so this one and this one. Now if you do shift sign -3 on the calculator, it won't work because the maximum value of the sin x graph, the maximum is 1 and then the minimum is -1, so it cannot increase more than 1 or decrease more than -1. Okay, so this equation, these are the two values that we have. This is not valid. Okay, but now he said that he wants it in terms of pi, so what we can do is do 30 over 180 multiplied by pi to work it out. So that will be pi over 6 and 5 over 6 pi. Okay, and now so the 5 over 6 pi is equivalent to 150 degrees. Okay, this is much easier, so we'll do is just like solving normal equations, but here instead of multiplication and stuff like that, we have a sign, so the opposite of sign is inverse sign, so we'll do inverse sign root 3 over 2 equal to x plus 10. If we do x is equal to sine root 3 over 2 minus 10, that should give us the answer. Okay, so x is equal to 50. Alright, so basically if we do sine 60 degrees, it should be root 3 over 2. Okay, but also here he said that he wants the equation between 0 and 180. Okay, so we have to draw our sine graph again. So we have 50 degrees here, which will equal to root 3 over 2, like we will have the value of y root 3 over 2, and here we have another value of root 3 over 2. Okay, so if you do so if we do 180 minus 50, so that will give me 130 x 130, and if we put it into the calculator again, so sine 140, that should give us root 3 over 2. It actually doesn't, so why is that? Oh, sorry, no, because 180 minus 60, so maybe we need 110. If we do, yes, 110. Okay, because we only care about this part. Alright, this part is the main thing. So if we do sine this part only will give us 60. Alright, so the 60 is there and the thing is there, so if we do 180 minus 60 is 170, and if we do 170 minus the 10, it will give us, sorry, I messed up. Sorry, if we do 180 minus the 60 is 120, minus 10 will give me 110. Okay, that's why I have 110 here. Okay, so now I have cos, that's for b now, we are in b now. Okay, I have cos 2x is equal to negative 0.9. Okay, so now we'll do cos negative is inverse cos 0.9, that's equal to 2x. Okay, so shift cos 0.9, that will give me 25.84 degrees is equal to 2x. Okay, so now I have x is equal to around 12.5 ish. Okay, around approximately. Okay, I didn't use the calculator there. Okay, it should actually be 12.9 degrees. Okay, but they need another value. Okay, which will be we need another value, because so we'll go to we have the cosine graph looks like this. So the 180 is there, so we actually don't need another value because it's only there. That's how you check whether you need another value or not, because that's the 180, that's the pi over 2, 90 degrees, that's the 0, that's the 360 over 2 pi. So we don't need another value, this is the only value we need. Okay, so here I have either this is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. Okay, and we need to solve theta between negative 180 degrees and 180 degrees. Okay, so I have 1 plus tan theta is equal to 0, 5 sine theta minus 2 is equal to 0. So I have sine theta is equal to 2 over 5, and here tan theta is equal to negative 1. And if I use the calculator, we have negative 45. The tan graph looks like something like this. That's negative 90. Okay, I have it something like this. That's negative 90, that's negative 180 down there. Okay, so there is no negative 1 again, so this is the only one, and this is 90, and that is the 180. So I have a value here. Okay, so if I add 180, I should get the same answer, plus 180. So theta is equal to 135 degrees. Okay, with this one, shift sign 2 over 5, I should get 23.6 degrees, and also 180 minus that number, I will also get 156.42 degrees. This one, we know that tan x is equal to sine theta sine x cosine x, and if we do 4 over 3 is equal to tan x, or we'll do it sine x over cosine x 1 over sine x. This will cancel this one out, so I will have 4 over 3 cosine x is equal to 3 over 4. And if I solve this one, I will get x, or theta, is equal to 41.41 degrees. And if we do the graph, that should be like that. So we have it here and we have it here. So we'll do 360 minus the 41.41. That should give us 318.59 degrees. And we can check the answer by substituting in again. And we get 0.74999. And we have this question here: find all values of theta to one decimal place. So we know that this is kind of easy, so we know that we can do theta plus 30 is equal to 3 over 5. And then we can do, sine inverse sine 3 over 5 should be equal to that, okay? Because the opposite of sine is inverse sine. So inverse sine 3 over 5 is 36 minus 30 should give us 6.8. Theta is equal to 6.9 degrees. And if we do 180 minus that 36.9 and then minus the 30 again, we should get 113.1 degrees, okay? Because we have a value here and a value here. Okay, and if you substitute into this, you should get 3, okay? So this one we will assume this is to the power, by the way, to the power. So if we assume that x is equal to tan theta, and if we do tan, so if we have x squared is equal to 4, so that x is equal to plus or minus 2, because we will square root then we have tan theta is equal to plus or minus 2, and we have the graph here. I put it here. So if we do that, we will have a value of 63, so that's somewhere here, okay, because this is the 90, and we have it repeating here as well. So if we add 180, we should get the same, the other value, so 243. So 243, okay, so we have one value at 243.43 and 63.43. Sorry. Okay, and we'll do the -2 one. So that's the same answer. And if we do 180, it will give us, if we do theta is equal to tan negative inverse tan -2, theta will be negative 63.43, so that will be somewhere here, okay? So if we add 180, we will go here, and if we add another 180, we will go here, okay? So if we add 180, it will be 116.6 degrees, and if you add another 180, that should give us 296.565 degrees, and we have all these values are between 0 and 360. I think I will leave this question for another time. Thank you for watching.